In this video, we will be going over lesson 7, which is about multiplying integers. Okay. Our first question says an underground parking garage has 3 levels. Each level has the same floor to ceiling height. Janet is standing on the bottom level at negative 18 yards. She wants to know where the first level of the floor is located. Janet writes the number sentence, negative 18 divided by 3 equals negative 6. What does the number sentence mean? Okay, well, she's standing negative 18 yards below 0. Okay, so her parking garage goes into the ground, and this 3 represents how many levels there are in this parking garage. Okay, so if I have these 3 equal levels, and each of them has to have the same exact ceiling to height ratio, meaning each one is the same height, okay, none of them are different. All 3 of these, when I add them together, has to be 18. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and since these are all underneath the ground, they are all going to be a negative 6. So the total depth is negative 18 yards, and there are 3 levels. That is what that 3 represents, and with those 3 levels it tells you that it is a negative 6, which means that the first floor is 6 yards underground. Pam is going scuba diving. She plans to dive at 5 yards per minute. Pam wants to know what her location will be after 8 minutes of diving. And she writes this number sentence, negative 5 times 8 equals negative 40. What does the number sentence mean? So what this Pam is doing is every single minute, she's going to dive negative 5 feet all the way down until she does this a total of 8 times, which means that we're talking about 8 minutes here. Okay, not 5, because it says here she's doing it after 8 minutes. And when she does this, she's going to arrive at negative 40 yards, or 40 yards, before sea level. Whoops, I chose the wrong one. This one. There we go. So after 8 minutes, she will be at negative 40 yards, or she'll be 40 yards below sea level. For 3 plays in a row, a football team was pushed back. On each play, the team lost 5 yards. How many total yards did the team lose together? Okay, well, a team is pushed backwards 3 times. Okay, so in each time they were pushed back, they lost 5 total yards. So if I were to take these 3 negative 5s and add them all together, they would lose a total of negative 15 yards. So this sentence here, where I have that negative 15 and they lost 15 yards, is the one that I would want to pick here. Our next one is talking about Josh's dog Hagrid, and Hagrid is on a diet, and he lost a total of 12 pounds in 4 weeks. If Hagrid's weight changed the same amount each week, how much did his weight change in 1 week? Okay, so he lost a total of 12 pounds over the course of 4 weeks. So if I were to think, well, 12 divided by 4, right? Every single one of these number sentences has a 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So these two, where I have the 16 and the 8, cannot be it. And then think about the context that we're given here. I know that Hagrid's dog is losing weight, so would a positive 3 or a negative 3 represent a loss of weight? Hopefully you're saying negative 3, right? A negative 3 would represent weight loss. Okay, some rules for multiplying and dividing, but multiplying right now with negatives. If you have the same sign or an even number of negatives, your answer will be positive. What that looks like is this. I'm going to do 2 examples. Say I have negative 2 times negative 10. I have 1, 2 negatives. 2 is even. Even means positive. So all I need to do is multiply my numbers, and I know my answer is positive. Say I have something like this, negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. 4 is even. 4 is an even number, which means my final answer here is going to be positive. All I need to do is multiply my numbers and make sure my answer is positive. If you have an odd number of negatives, okay, odd, say that could look like 6 times negative 5. I only have one negative sign here. 1 is an odd number, so I would multiply my numbers and make sure my final answer is odd. Say I have something like negative 2 times negative 4 times negative 6. I have 1, 2, 3 negative signs. 3 is odd. Odd means that my final answer should be negative. So all I would need to do here is multiply my numbers and keep my sign. See, that would be 8 times 6, which is 48, and it is negative. Okay, so you're looking for a number of negatives. Even is positive, odd is negative. With that being said, let's look at some questions from workbook 7.2 and 7.2. What is negative 51 times negative 24? Well, if I look, I have two negatives here. 1, 2. 2 is going to mean my answer will be positive. All I need to do is multiply these. 51 times 24. So this would be 4, 22, 10, add them together. I get 1,224. For these questions, please do not feel bad or don't hesitate to double check your answers in a calculator. The most common mistakes that I see with these are students either forgetting their negative, not multiplying correctly, accidentally adding them. So make sure that you use your resources, and if you have a calculator, which you do, you have that online one, the Desmos one that I use in all of my videos, make sure you're using it to double check here. Next is, what is 143 times negative 3? Well, if I look here, I only have one negative. 1 is odd, which means my final answer should be negative. All I need to do now is multiply my numbers. I get 429, and it is negative. Next one wants to know which answer correctly shows how to multiply 3 times negative 4 times 7. Okay, well, if we look at this first one, it's saying I'm doing 3 times 4, which is 9. Not correct. This one says I'm doing 4 times 7, which is 21. Not correct. This one says I'm doing 3 times negative 4, which is 12. Almost correct, but it's missing that negative, right? Because I have one negative here, which means my final answer should also be negative. So this one is not correct. So that means we're left with this one here. Negative 4 times negative 7 is negative 28, and 3 times negative 28 is negative 84. Again, same type of question. However, this time, if I look at my original expression, I have two negatives. 1, 2. 2 is even, which means my final answer is going to be positive. So I'm going to cross off the 2 that are negative. Here it says if I do 8 times 5, I should get 32. Well, that's not correct because 8 times 5 is 40, which means it has to be this one. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40, and then a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive. And again, you can also double check this one in a calculator as well. Alright, that is all that I have. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to use that calculator to check your sign, and have a great rest of your day.